Breaking. Alexandra Eala versus Donna Vekic. Philippine Open Finals shocks all of Croatia. Welcome to what is undoubtedly the most significant broadcast we've ever done on the future of Asian tennis. If you are joining us from Zagreb, from Split, or anywhere in Croatia, brace yourselves. If you are watching from Manila, from Quezon City, or anywhere in the Philippines, you already know. You have felt the ground shake. You have heard the roar that is currently reverberating across the Pacific Ocean. We are coming to you live with breaking news that has not just upset the odds, it has completely rewritten the script for the 2026 WTA season. The headline is simple, but the story is infinitely complex. Entire Croatia shocked. The Philippine Open Finals are over, and the result is nothing short of a seismic event in the world of professional tennis. Alexandra Eala, Donna Vekic, the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center. A match that was billed as a battle of experience versus youth, of Olympic pedigree versus home soil hunger, has concluded in a fashion that defies logic, defies the rankings, and defies the very physics of the sport. Let's set the stage before we dissect the anatomy of the shock. We are talking about the finals of the inaugural Philippine Women's Open in Manila. On one side of the net, you have Donna Vekic, the Croatian sensation, the Olympic silver medalist from Paris 2024. A woman who has walked the hallowed grounds of Wimbledon semifinals. A hitter so flat, so hard, and so ruthless that she has been known to take the racket out of her opponent's hands simply by the velocity of her return. Vekic came to Manila not just to win. She came to conquer. She came to silence a crowd that has been starving for a tennis hero for decades. She came to stamp her authority on a season where she is looking to reclaim her spot in the elite top 10. And on the other side, Alexandra Eala, the golden girl of the Philippines. The lefty who's been carrying the weight of 115 million expectations on her shoulders since she was a junior champion. But tonight, she wasn't junior. Tonight, she wasn't just a prospect. Tonight, she stepped onto the hard court in Manila not as a participant, but as a gladiator defending her own coliseum. The scoreline? We will get to the scoreline. But the headline, the reason the Croatian press is in a state of absolute disbelief this morning, is the manner of this victory. This was not a lucky break. This was not an injury retirement. This was a dismantling. This was a war of attrition played in the suffocating humidity of Manila, a gladiatorial contest that lasted nearly 3.5 hours, pushing both women to the absolute limit of human endurance. Why is Croatia shocked? Because Donna Vekic does not lose matches like this. Donna Vekic, when she is up a break in the decider, which she was, does not fold. She is the Iron Lady of the tour. She is the one who survives. And yet tonight, she was met with a force of nature that she could not calculate. She was met with a version of Alex Eala that we have never seen before. A version that took the pace of an Olympic medalist and redirected it with laser-like precision. A version that looked at the face of defeat at 3-5 down in the final set and simply refused to blink. We are calling it the Manila Miracle. But perhaps that is unfair to Eala. A miracle implies divine intervention. What we witnessed tonight was not divine. It was gritty, it was sweaty, and it was tactical brilliance. It was a culmination of years of training at the Rafa Nadal Academy, fused with the indomitable puso or heart that the Filipino athletes are legendary for. Think about the context here. Eala has beaten Vekic before. We saw it at the Croatian Classic. We saw the flashes of brilliance at the ASB Classic. But those were warm-ups. Those were exhibitions or lower-stakes environments. This was a final. There was a trophy on the line. There were ranking points that Eala desperately needs to break into the top 40. And more importantly, there was the pressure. Can we talk about the pressure for a second? Imagine standing on the service line. It is 30-all. It is the third set. Your legs are burning like fire. The humidity is 90%. And thousands of your countrymen are screaming your name so loud that you can feel the vibrations in your shoes. Most 20-year-olds would crumble. Most young players would double fault, retreat into their shell, and let the veteran take over. Alex Eala did not crumble. She ascended, and that is why Croatia is shocked. Because they expected their champion, the experienced Donna Vekic, to weather the storm, They expected Vekic to use her serve, one of the best in the game, to silence the crowd. And for the first hour, that is exactly what happened. Vekic was unplayable. She was painting the lines. She was moving Eala from corner to corner like a puppet master. It looked like a rout. It looked like a masterclass. The headlines were already being written. Vekic silences Manila, experienced triumphs over hype. But tennis is a sport of momentum. It is a sport of singular moments that shift the timeline. And in the second set, something changed. A flicker, a spark. Eala hit a running forehand passing shot, a banana shot down the line that hooked in at the last millisecond, and the roof of the Rizal Memorial nearly blew off. You could see it in Vekic's eyes. A moment of doubt, a moment of realization that this kid wasn't going away. From that moment on, it was a dogfight. It was physical. It was brutal. We saw rallies of 20, 30, 35 shots. We saw moonballs. We saw drop shots. We saw Vekic smashing her racket in frustration, a rare sight for composed Croatian. We saw Eala pumping her fist, screaming "come on," with a ferocity that reminded us of a young Rafael Nadal. This result sends a shockwave through the WTA Tour. It sends a message to the locker room. The Philippines is no longer just a spectator nation in the world of tennis. They are players. And Alex Eala is not just a participant. She is a contender. For Donna Vekic, this is a bitter pill. To lose a final is hard. To lose a final to a lower-ranked player is harder. But to lose a final where you had the match on your racket, where you were in control, and where you allowed the atmosphere and the tenacity of your opponent to break your rhythm, that will sting. The Croatian media is already asking questions. Was it the heat? Was it the crowd? Was it a tactical failure from her coaching box? We will explore all of those angles in this broadcast. But tonight belongs to Manila. Tonight belongs to every young Filipino kid who picked up a racket and was told they were too small or that tennis was a European sport. Tonight, Alex Eala proved that tennis belongs to those who want it the most. We're going to go deep into the mechanics of this match. We are going to break down the second serve statistics that define the third set. We're going to look at the breakpoint conversion rates, which were frankly abysmal for Vekic and clinical for Eala in the crunch moments. We will discuss the psychological warfare that took place during the changeovers. So sit back, grab your coffee or your celebration drink, because we are not just reporting the news tonight. We are witnessing history. The Philippine Open has its first champion, and her name is etched in history. The upset is complete. The shock is real. And the analysis starts right now. Let's strip away the emotion for a moment and look at the cold, hard facts of how this match was won and lost. Because when you look at the stat sheet, you might be confused. Donna Vekic won more points in total. She hit more aces. She had a higher first serve percentage. By all traditional metrics, the Croatian should be holding the trophy right now. So, how did Alexandra Eala steal this victory? The answer lies in what I call the red zone performance. Performance under extreme duress. The first set, the Croatian clinic, the match began exactly as the rankings suggested it would. Donna Vekic came out firing. Her game plan was clear. Attack the Eala serve, specifically the second serve, and keep the points short. Vekic knows she has the power advantage. She hits a flatter ball than almost anyone on tour. On the hard courts of Manila, which are playing relatively fast due to the heat, this is a massive weapon. Vekic broke Eala immediately in the first game. It was a statement. She was stepping into the court, taking the ball on the rise, and denying Eala any time to set up her heavy lefty forehand. Eala looked nervous. Her footwork was a half step slow. She was framing balls, sending them into the stands. The crowd tried to rally her, but a 6-2 first set in favor of Vekic silenced them effectively. At this point, the Croatian press room must have been relaxed. It looked like a routine day at the office. Vekic was serving at 75%, hitting her spots, and Eala had no answer for the cross-court backhand that Vekic loves so much. The adjustment. The tactical shift. This is where the genius of Eala's camp and her own court intelligence came into play. In the break between the first and second sets, Eala disappeared into the bathroom for a mental reset. When she came out, she didn't just change her shirt. She changed her geometry. Eala realized she couldn't out-hit Vekic. If she tried to stand toe-to-toe on the baseline and trade flat bombs, she would lose 9 times out of 10. So she started to use the Nadal blueprint. She started adding massive topspin to her forehand. She started looping the ball high to the Vekic backhand. Why does this matter? Because Donna Vekic hits flat. To hit a flat ball effectively, you need the ball in your strike zone, around hip or waist height. Eala started putting the ball up at Vekic's shoulder. Suddenly, Vekic couldn't step in and crush it. She had to step back. She had to generate her own pace from an awkward height. The rallies extended. We went from 4-shot average rallies in the first set to 9-shot averages in the second. This favored Eala. She is a grinder. She is fit. She thrives in the suffering. You could see Vekic's face redden. The humidity of Manila is a silent killer. By making Vekic swing at hundreds of heavy, high-bouncing balls, Eala was draining the Croatians' battery. The turning point. The crowd factor the second set went to a tiebreak. This was the moment the match could have ended. Vekic had a mini-break. She was serving at 4-3 in the breaker. She missed a first serve. On the second serve, the crowd, perhaps controversially, but undeniably effectively, began a slow clap that turned into a roar right before her toss. Vekic looked agitated. She rushed the second serve and double faulted. That double fault was the crack in the dam. Eala pounced. She won the tiebreak 7-5. The stadium erupted, and suddenly we had a match. The third set, the war of attrition, this is where the shock really materialized. Vekic, to her credit, regrouped. She broke Eala early in the third to go up 3-1, then 4-2. It felt like the experience was taking over again. Vekic was yelling at herself, pumping herself up, refusing to let the crowd get to her. But at 4-2, 30-30, serving, Vekic missed a routine drive volley. It was a shot she makes in her sleep. She put it in the net. You could see the disbelief. The shock wasn't just in Croatia. It was on Vekic's face. She knew she shouldn't miss that. That miss gave Eala a break point, which she converted with a stunning backhand down the line, a shot she hadn't hit all night. From 4-3, the match descended into chaos. Breaks of serve back and forth. Neither woman could hold. The tension was palpable. Eala's serve, usually her vulnerability, became her weapon not because of speed, but because of placement. She started sliding the lefty slice out wide on the ad court, pulling Vekic off the court, opening up the entire line. The final game serving for the match at 6-5, Eala showed nerves of steel. She started down 0-30. The Croatian fans watching on TV must have thought, here we go, she's going to choke. But Eala played 3 consecutive points that were simply perfect. A service winner. A serve and volley on a hard court in a final. And then, at match point, a rally that lasted 28 shots. Vekic threw everything at her. She hit the corners. She brought Eala to the net. She lobbed her. But Eala kept getting the ball back. Finally, Vekic went for too much. She tried to paint the line on a forehand inside out, and the ball drifted just wide. The out call was delayed by a fraction of a second, adding to the drama. When the umpire confirmed it, Eala collapsed. Vekic stood at the net, hands on hips, staring at the mark. She couldn't believe it. The match was hers to win, and it slipped through her fingers like sand. The statistical anomaly here is a stat that matters. Breakpoint saves. Donna Vekic saved 4 out of 12 breakpoints. Alex Eala saved 10 out of 13. That is the story. In the clutch, when the pressure was highest, Eala was impenetrable. She played her best tennis when she was behind. Vekic played her worst tennis when she was ahead. That is a psychological shock that will haunt the Vekic camp for weeks. Furthermore, let's talk about the unforced error count in the third set. Vekic committed 18 unforced errors in the final set alone. Eala committed 6. In a high-stakes environment, consistency beats power. Eala refused to give Vekic free points. She made Vekic earn every single inch. And in the end, the price was too high for Croatian to pay. As the dust settles on the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center and the celebrations spill out onto the streets of Manila, we must ask, what does this mean? This is not just one trophy. This is a paradigm shift. For Donna Vekic, this is a code red moment. We are early in the season. She has big points to defend coming up, losing to a player ranked outside the top 30 at the start of the match. In a final, after leading, suggests a fragility that other players will exploit. The tour is a shark tank. If they smell blood, if they see that Vekic can be rattled by a hostile crowd and a grind-a-game style, they will replicate it. Vekic needs to go back to the drawing board with her team. She needs to work on her closing mentality. She has the shots. She has the talent. But the killer instinct failed her tonight. The Croatian press will be harsh, but fair. They expect greatness because she has shown greatness. Tonight, she showed vulnerability. For Alexandra Eala, the ceiling has just been shattered. We have known about her potential for years. We watched her win the U.S. Open Juniors. We watched her grind through the ITF circuit. But there's a massive gap between junior star and WTA champion. Tonight, she built a bridge across that gap and walked over it. This one propels her rankings significantly. She is knocking on the door of the top 30 now. That means seedings at Grand Slams. That means easier draws. That means avoiding the likes of IGA Swiatek or Aryna Sabalenka in the first round. It is a snowball effect. Success breeds success. But more than the rankings, it is the belief. Tonight, Alex Eala looked across the net at an Olympic silver medalist and didn't see a superior. She saw an equal. Once a young player unlocks that mental state, they become dangerous to everyone. The big three of women's tennis need to take notice. There's a new lefty in town, and she fights for every ball as if her life depends on it. And finally, for Asian tennis, and specifically Philippine tennis. This is the Pacquiao moment of the sport. Just as Manny Pacquiao put the Philippines on the boxing map, Alex Eala is single-handedly dragging Philippine tennis into the global spotlight. This tournament, the Philippine Open, was a gamble. Hosting a major event is expensive and risky. But this final, this result, it ensures the tournament's future for the next decade. Sponsors will line up. Kids will flood the tennis academies tomorrow morning asking for rackets. We are witnessing the birth of a legacy. As we sign off, let's remember the image of the night, the embrace at the net. Vekic, gracious in defeat despite the shock, offering a nod of respect. And Eala, tears streaming down her face, wrapped in the Philippine flag, pointing to the sky. It was a night where the rankings lied. It was a night where the impossible happened. It was a night the entire nation of Croatia was shocked, and the entire nation of the Philippines was united. From all of us here at the studio, thank you for joining us for this marathon broadcast. We'll be back tomorrow with more reaction, player interviews, and a frame-by-frame breakdown of that championship point. Until then, keep your eye on the ball. Good night.